So I was summoned by the Sanhedrin to answer. Why are you so much into this lady? Tell us that you have seen something and your eyes are full. I said, please, this is not about eyes. So they didn't know who I was and where I was coming from. So they couldn't understand. I said, please, this is not about eyes. So this one is, if it's eyes, it's the spiritual eyes. This one is past eyes. Because even the spiritual eyes can fool you. You can be given a false image to see. This one is the voice of the Lord. So you see where Satan was hitting. From the Sanhedrin, this was my testimony. I didn't have anything to say of myself. They were trying to get me to say something that will sort of make me accountable for, okay, it is because he himself. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. It was simply the voice of the Lord spoke to me. This is my damsel. This is not window shopping. In fact, when the way it happened even was amazing, because before the Lord would speak to me, there were 1, 2, 3 ladies together, and each of them spoke a declarative prophetic word about me at the same time. That was strange. This one said, I will have you in this number of days. This one said, I will have you in these number of days. That one said, I will have you in these number of days. So as confused as you will be spiritually, you will be confused if you don't know the voice of the master. So I got married to my damsel. And then the heat was turned up. The oven became hot. It became a furnace. It became a fitting condition for the melting of metals, for the purification of gold and silver. He said, this is what he is saying. So the finances began to dry up. It dried up very intensely. So intensely, I've shared this testimony on the YouTube channel already, TTW Move, at TTW Move. So it's there. And I shared the testimony because I was teaching on God's ways for provision. It's part 1 and part 2. God's ways for provision. So we went through hell. When I say you went through hell, you may not really understand until let me share this vision with you. So the hell we were going through, one time, as I laid, you see, I had answered the call of God, marriage for the called. The answering of the call of God was as connected to the answering of his voice to marry the woman that he gave to me, as it was the doorway for the prophet in me to be fully, just stretched. Because every calling is before you were in your mother's womb. But there is a time where it is revealed, and that time can be a whole season where you have the revelation of the calling. And there is a time it becomes urgent on you. You begin to receive instructive words to answer the calling, with consequences being revealed if you are showing stubbornness. Then when you answer it, you enter into what you see in Matthew chapter 3 and 4. When Jesus answers the call of God, the Holy Ghost will drive him into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. This is exactly the season I entered into. Oh, there were lonely days, lonely nights, lonely weeks, lonely months. But Washemi Bode became my song. Okame Hudeina Metrwa Chirobotan Kese. If I don't let you know this, you may think, oh, maybe for me, I have support from somebody. So because God is the one that shall be glorified on this altar, I must share this, that every family person failed me at one point or the other. And unless somebody comes from somewhere to tell me they put their money into it, as far as I am concerned, the first testimony of the breakthrough, the marriage was fully financed on my expense. The capacity alone that was built by that was another issue. Fully fully financed on both sides. Why? Because it was a lonely journey that you were saying God said, and everybody had an opinion and said, slow down, why don't you wait 1 year? And God was telling you, do it quickly. He knew why. I didn't know why, but I knew the urgency that was on me. And I had already learned from the mistakes of disobedience and I was walking in the fear of the Lord. And I was also walking in the love of God because He had set me free. He had set me free. That's another testimony I will share later. He had set me free. And so it was like, you've been set free by another strong man. And your will is lost in His because you knew you couldn't help yourself. And He came through like a prince in shining armor. And He saved you. So you know that love. How to return that love is to do what He tells you to do. But this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments. And His commandments are not grievous. 1 John 5. So it was more like, when people want to sometimes control you, they will pull away their financial support. Do you understand? They may have the capacity to help you. But you see the way the Lord was just working the testimony. The financial breakthrough comes. The marriage has to happen. And then the finances were following the faith. The payments were coming as the faith walk continued. I made a lot of mistakes in the process, in the fine decisions of how much for this and paying for that and deciding. That's a process of learning how to walk in faith when it comes to finances, in planning how you use the money that God has blessed you with. I made a lot of mistakes. The maturity I have today to come and do something like this and ensure that I don't finish this and I'm hungry, I've grown over time. I've grown over time by God's grace. And because of that, God has also entrusted more stewardship responsibilities to my charge.